Hello guys, this is Gautam Vakeri and in this video we will analyze the rise and fall of Jet Airways. Jet was once upon a time the top-notch aircraft carrier in India. They were number one in this industry and now they have grounded all their operation. So we will analyze the faults that the Jets did, the rise of the Jet and their expansion, and finally what are the reasons why they ended their entire operations and grounded them. So we know this man, the young Naresh Goyal. Naresh Goyal is the founder of Jet Airways, and this all started when he joined in 1967 in his uncle's firm, East West Travels, as a cashier, and it is there where he learned everything about this industry, how to survive in this industry, how to build up this industry, and he got his experience and learned tricks and tactics to survive in this industry. And in the year 1992, he, along with his two children, Niveen Goyal and Namrata Goyal, founded Jet Airways. Jet Airways was started as a LLC, which is nothing but a limited liability company, and they were initially the air taxi operators and operating from Mumbai to Ahmedabad, because they were started as air taxi because the scheduled flights were not allowed as per as government regulations during that time. And immediately they became the second largest private airline in the subsequent year. Immediately the next year, in the year 1994, they became the second largest carrier, carrying over 1.7 million passengers, and they expanded further by buying they leased nearly three Boeing 737-400 aircraft from Malaysian Airways. So Jet Airways was always passionate to expand rapidly, and they wanted to expand, but they expanded even without looking backward or forward. So this was one among the reasons why they went down. We will analyze it further in the coming slides. And moving on, in 1999, they announced to buy Boeing 737-800 aircraft with a order worth of 550 million US dollars. And in 2005, they became a public listed company and they issued their IPO. The first IPO was out, and this IPO was a huge success, soaring Naresh Goyal's wealth to 18.9 billion rupees. And in the following years, they acquired Air Sahara, and even this was a small downfall because they bought the Air Sahara for a humongous amount, according to which many analysts, which was a false step that Jet Airways took and shouldn't have been taken. Okay, 2010 was a great year for Jet Airways. They became number one in Indian airline industry with a market share of 22.6% in their third quarter. Yes, they were number one at this time. This was the peak of Jet Airways career, and then onwards the fall began. The fall began in 2018 November. We all saw the news coming out where Jet reported that earnings in negative. The earnings were in red and they were making humongous losses. And following in March 2019, both Naresh Goyal and wife Anita Goyal was made to step down from the board of directors of Jet Airways, and a collegium of banks took over a major stake in the airport. And in April 5th, the IOC, Indian Oil Corporation, stopped supplying fuel to the airline. In 2019, they had to suspend all their eastern-bound flights and international flights due to lack of number of aircrafts. In April 2019, they had only 10 planes left. You know now where the condition is going. The aircraft once upon a time had 123 aircrafts in December 2018. Now by April 2019, they had only 10 aircraft. And finally, we know on April 19th, this is the official tweet of Jet Airways. With a deep sadness and heavy heart, we would like to share that effective immediately, we will be suspending all our domestic and international flights. The Giant grounded their operations on April 17th. All their operations were shut down. They didn't have enough money to continue the operations. They didn't have even enough money to complete the flights that were already booked. So what all happened? Why did this all happen? Why did this giant fall? Can be all analyzed in the subsequent slides. So first of all, we need to know that they had a huge debt. They had a debt of 8,500 crore rupees. And with this debt, when Jet was struggling, they had a hopes to come up, to rise up again, to make some profit. And for this, in order for a emergency operation, they requested an emergency funding of 400 crores from two most prominent banks. They were nothing but the SBI and the PNB. Both the banks, they requested an emergency funding of 400 crores. But unfortunately, both the banks rejected this. The reason being, the company was already in a debt, and moreover, the conditions of Indian banks. They are burdened with NPAs, non-performing assets, and also we have histories of defaulters like Vijay Mallya, Kingfisher Airlines, etc. And as a last resort, Jet Airways tried to borrow 175 crores from the central government. Now, why this was mainly to pay off the salaries of Jet Airways employees. They had not been paid for a couple of months, more than a couple of months, and finally Jet Airways wanted to settle all their salaries and requested an immediate funding from the central government. This is not from any bank, from the central government of 175 crores. They said they will be pledging or keeping collateral of their Boeing 777 as a collateral so that they can raise up the loan. But the central government also denied it, as they did not want to accept Boeing 777 as a collateral. First of all, this was taken with a loan from the Exim Bank. The Exim Bank is nothing but an export-import bank, and Boeing 777 was acquired by taking a huge amount of loan from Exim Bank, and which was also under default. So the central government did not accept this proposal and never paid, and did not offer to pay 175 crore as a loan to Jet Airways. So this was the last coffin. This was the last nail in the coffin of Jet Airways, and they had to end their all operations. And finally, as I said, the previous tweet, they shut down all their operations across India. This is an image where you can see Jet Airways employees coming out in protest, asking for their salaries. They were asking, how will our children go to school? How will we leave? Because most of their salaries was not paid, and their future is at risk. They are not able to find any future employment, and all of a sudden they have to exit this industry. So, talking a little about Exim Bank, as you know, they said Exim Bank is nothing but the Export-Import Bank of India, which is a financial institution established in 82 under the Import-Export Bank of India Act 81. Their HQ headquarters is in Mumbai, and their main role is to act as a catalyst and a key player in promotion of cross-trade and investments. So if you're an exporter or an importer, you can avail the immediate cash required for your operations from the Exim Bank. So that was just something about Exim Bank, not completely related to the topic. So now we will come to the main objective of the video, the exact reason for their fall. So the most important reason that I would say is the amount of competition, the amount of reckless competition in the airline industry. And apart from that, we saw in 2013 when Captain G.R. Gopinath, he started the Deccan Airways, which is nothing but a low-cost carrier. A low-cost carrier is addressing the need of a price-sensitive customer, and we know that majority of the Indian customers are price-sensitive. They didn't focus much on the luxury. Most of the luxuries and services was cut down, but they focused only on the availing passengers to travel with a lighter amount, with a cheaper prices. And this idea was also followed by SpiceJet and Indigo. They both came into the market, and the market was disrupted. So the entire airline industry was forced to fly with cheaper prices. They were supposed to cut down the prices, and most of the ticket prices were forced to cut down. And one thing, we can't say that Jet did not adapt to this. Jet did adapt to this. Jet did cut down their prices, but they maintained as a full service airline, which means they were giving tickets at a cheaper price, but they kept whatever services, luxury services they were giving, they kept it intact, which invariably means they are spending too much than whatever they are getting. So that was one of the reasons the humongous competition and the entry of low-cost carrier, low-cost aircrafts. And the next one is the government policies. Okay, so in 2004 we know the 220 rule by then Civil Aviation Minister. The 520 rule is nothing but if you want to operate, if any Indian aircraft wants to operate internationally, they need to have a minimum 5 years experience and 20 aircraft under them. So that is nothing but 520 rule. This rule was scrapped later on, and this made 020, which means you need not to have any experience, but you just need to have 20 aircraft if you want to operate internationally. This opportunity was grabbed by carriers like SpiceJet and Indigo Air. They grabbed this opportunity and they too started playing internationally. Now, if you see, Jet Airways mainly focus on international operations. Okay, once they had enough expansion, they started focusing on international operations. So, as this rule was scrapped, again the competitors punched into their international operations also, which invariably made Jet Airways lose their revenue. So this also has contributed matter of fact, in Jet losing their market share. The next would be small mismanagements happened here and there. We know in 2007, as I said earlier, they acquired Sahara Airlines at a cost of 1,450 crores. Okay, so this amount paid was too much by many of the analysts. Naresh Goyal bluntly paid so much amount for a falling airline carrier, which he shouldn't have done that. And from then onwards, they had a very deep downfall. Jet Airways started going down, their debt started rising, but at this point of time, they were saved somehow by Etihad. So we saw a deal between Jet Airways and Etihad. Etihad bought nearly 24% stake in Jet Airways. So since Etihad jumped into the picture, at that point of time, Jet Airways was saved, or else their coming to an end would have been more faster or more earlier. The next one is about the air turbine fuel. We all know how expensive the fuel is getting, and air turbine fuel is going to a scorching high right now. Also, there are enough the taxes on ATF are too much. So the airline is supposed to pay nearly 35 to 40% on the taxes of ATFs. Apart from that, if you analyze, SpiceJet as well as other carriers have their operations in the Udan routes. Udan route is nothing but a scheme. It's a government scheme to encourage more flyers into some of the remote locations, and these locations and these routes are designed by the government. So if you fly to that locations, those carriers will be getting a tax reduction on the ATFs. But there was almost nil aircrafts flying off Jet Airways in Udan operations, which invariably means they didn't even get much of tax exemptions, while as their competitors like SpiceJet and Indigo had operations were operating under the Udan scheme, and they were entitled to get some amount of tax exemptions, which means Jet was paying more taxes compared to their competitors, increasing their expense. And in this kind of scenario where the airline industry is facing a cutthroat competition, when your competitors is paying less than you, that means you're in serious trouble. So if you see the Jet ownership before and after, you can see that the previous ownership of Jet, where 51% was owned by Naresh Goyal and 25 by Etihad, and 25 by banks and publics. While after the whole incident came up, is that Naresh Goyal was made to step down from the board of directors along with his wife. 50.5% of the shares were taken over by banks. So this is a group of banks that is controlling the board now, and remaining 25, 12 and 12% by banks, Etihad and Public. Now, so this is the condition of Jet Airways. Now they have shut down their operations. They have diluted the founder have diluted his entire share, and now we need to wait and watch what will happen to Jet Airways. So this is a news that has appeared just yesterday, on May 2nd, which says that Jet Airways bidders showed no expression of interest. So before there was an offer to bid for Jet Airways, the main bidders were Etihad, TPG Capital and Indigo Partners. They had earlier expressed their interest with this, along with NIAF, National Investment Infrastructure Funds. But now, as of now, we can see that on May 2nd there was no much interest they were showing in Jet Airways. So this again puts we can almost say that Jet Airways is going to be grounded forever, and there is no other hope. But again, we don't know what will happen in the industry. We need to wait and watch what exactly is going to happen. So that's all for now. That's all the reason that I believe Jet Airways has gone down, those mistakes of Jet. If you have any other knowledge regarding this, if you can analyze any other ways, or suggest me any other reasons why Jet Airways had gone down, their mistakes, or how they could survive further, please do share in the comment section. Thank you so much.